Welcome to the Indian Hill School District's Technology Update. I'm Robert Reed, Technology Instructor for the Indian Hill Middle School, and your host for today's program. Our topic today is on the Internet and how it is utilized in the Indian Hill School District. Today, Mr. Mark Richardson, Elementary School Technology Facilitator, is here with us, and he's going to bring us up to date on how we're using the Internet. Mark, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Bob. Good to be back.
The World Wide Web actually burst onto the scene around 1994, and it has been growing at just a phenomenal rate. How do you account for such a growth?
Well, the number one thing accounting for the growth has been the advancement in the computer industry being able to make low-cost computers. In fact, the performance of the computers has increased while the price continues to go down, and this has made it affordable for people to bring these into their houses.
Now, the Internet actually has been around for about 30 years. Why did it really take so long for it to catch on?
Well, besides the ability for people to bring this device into their house relatively inexpensive, the number one accounting for the growth would be the ease of use for the World Wide Web. Before 1994, the Internet had no World Wide Web, and it was all text-based, and it was only really for the computer heads that were into programming. Those were the only people that were able to use it. Now the World Wide Web has turned the Internet into a point-and-click environment which anyone can navigate.
Okay, so let's jump back then to 1994. What type of information would you find on the Internet at that particular time?
Well, the first time I read about the World Wide Web, we did have access here in Hamilton County at our educational center, and I was able to go out there during the summer and give it a try. And to tell you the truth, there wasn't much information out there on the World Wide Web. There were about 4,000 web pages, mostly created by universities who were basically playing with the technology and putting those tools in their students' hands and allowing them to create whatever they wanted. So if they're creating whatever they want, it was generally about other college students, the pages.
Mm-hmm. So this doesn't really sound like the Internet that we know and use today. So how did the World Wide Web actually grow to its present state?
Well, anything that is on the World Wide Web had to be placed there by someone. And in 1994, it was all put up there by college students. But today, we have businesses, educators, social organizations who are able to put up their own information. Virtually anyone can make use of these easy-to-use tools and publish information on the Internet. And all of these people are accounting for the vast growth of information available on the Internet.
Now, a lot of times we refer to people having web pages. Actually, how many pages exist out on the Internet?
Well, that's something that's very hard for computer scientists to even hazard a guess at. The last thing I read put the number at 300 or 400 million web pages. But there really isn't any way to track how many web pages are out there.
Now then, you're saying that we have from 300 to 400 million. How does one go about finding information that you're really looking for?
Well, it's not an easy thing to do because the software programmers who design these computer tools to navigate these huge databases of information have not been able to design tools robust enough to search the whole Internet. So you are searching just portions of the Internet with these relatively limited tools that designers are making for us.
So what are some of those tools that they're developing?
Well, if you look at my slide, there are two main categories of tools. And you can see, although there are multiple tools out there, no one tool covers the entire Internet, which requires you to be familiar with multiple varieties of tools. And if you look at the next slide, we have two broad classifications of tools. There are indexes. These are lists of sites. And then there are search engines, which are large computers that search the Internet and then categorize the Internet and making it more searchable.
So how do you really know which tool to use when?
Well, that's a very good question. An index is much more topic related. If you have a topic, a broad topic, which you would like to get more information on, going from broad to narrow, an index would be a good place to start. These are human-generated lists. If you're looking for something much more specific, going from specific to perhaps broader, then a search engine would be a better way to go.
So what are your own favorite tools then?
Well, if you look at the next slide, my favorite tool, actually, if we can go to the next slide, I'm sorry. All those wonderful graphics on the slide. My favorite internet directory is Yahoo. This is the most popular site on the internet, www.yahoo.com. This is an index. This is the #1 index on the internet that people use.
Okay. Now we're going to try and demonstrate some of the tools out there for us, and unfortunately our connection is not working properly at the moment. So let's say when I use a search engine such as AltaVista or Yahoo, I can sometimes get 100,000 matches for any one of my queries. What are some of the ways that we can get by with getting fewer hits and maybe being more on target with our search?
That's an excellent question, and doing something like that is very intimidating to someone, even someone with some internet experience. You mentioned AltaVista, which is my favorite search engine, and if you were to put in a fairly broad topic, I always use the example when I'm teaching classes, put the word in gardening, because I want to learn more about gardening, and I will get several 100,000 hits. There are, on each one of the search engines, specific help files that you can read that will help you in culling down your hits, the matches, so that you can get more specific into their database. And rather than to get several 100,000, maybe you can get it down to where you only have 1,000, which still sounds like a lot. But these search engines also have very sophisticated technology built into them where they actually rank the results that you get, so that according to that program, they think that the first result that they give you at the top of your list is actually your best match. And probably you can go through 20, 30 different matches, and by the time that you've gotten down that far, you've probably found the information that you need.
Okay. Well, you said that really no one search engine will actually search the entire internet. So do you have a particular strategy for using multiple search engines so it's not so tedious?
There are several tools out there called meta search engines or meta search tools that allow you to search multiple engines at the same time. Two of those that I would like to mention are www.ifind.com or infind.com, which is the inference finder. There's also another wonderful one, doesn't have a wonderful name, but www.dogpile.com. The way that these work, rather than, because we talked about it not one tool not covering everything, what this tool does is act like a middleman. And you submit your query, your topic, your question to this tool, and then it filters your question to multiple search engines at the same time, resulting in a return that's sometimes many pages long, telling you, at this site, these are your matches. At this site, these are your matches. The nice thing about the inference find is that it eliminates all the duplicates that you have. It doesn't sort them by the engines that you've used. It sorts them by categories, so that if I did a search for gardening, for example, it would take out all the duplicates, and then it would maybe give me a list of bonsai gardening, and a list of vegetable gardening, and a list of water gardening. So it categorizes by topic. It's the only search engine that does that. Very, very powerful tool. There is a downside to using the meta search tools in that I mentioned the help files that you can use at an AltaVista. And you can do very sophisticated searches there by putting in special language, Boolean language, using and or not terms to eliminate some of your topics or to include special topics or to search just for images or to search just in the title. And all of these search tools, because you're hitting multiple engines at the same time using a meta search tool, they don't recognize all those rules. So it's really more of a bulk search that you're doing.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that there's been many, many changes with the World Wide Web and how we find information on that. Is there anything that, in particular, before we go today, that you would like to tell our audience out there about?
Well, we really just scratched the surface with it. I would recommend for anyone living in the Indian Hill District to consider taking one of our Cyber Studio classes. We have several dealing with basic and advanced searching on the internet. I would also, a good place to get started would be to go to Yahoo, and in their search box, because we're looking at a topic here, you put in their search box, internet search tools, internet search engines, something along those lines, and you will find literally hundreds of tools out there. Something that you will match or find a match for is an all-in-one page. An all-in-one page is a place, once again, it's a middleman, and it keeps links to multiple search engines. And there are more search engines than just basic information. There are search engines where you can try to find people's email. There are search engines where you can find their address. There are search engines where you can generate specific types of maps, directions, software, businesses. Hundreds of tools out there to help you find the information that you're looking for on the internet. And you can simply get a nice introduction to those by going to Yahoo and typing internet search.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mark. We've been great. We've learned a lot about the internet, some new things, and hopefully the people in our viewing audience learn a little bit something, and maybe some of them can attend our future classes in Cyber Studio. Today, we've talked about the internet, but Cyber Studio is an opportunity for people within our community to actually attend classes, learn more about technology. And with those internet classes, you can see that before we leave today, I'd like to share some of those times and classes that are available for the remainder of the year. Now, for those of you who don't know, as I said before, Indian Hill residents are permitted to attend these technology classes during after-school hours. It's a series of instructional courses and also open lab periods. Each class is a 90-minute session. It begins at 7 p.m. and it ends at 8:30 p.m. To register for any of these classes, just simply call 272-4604. Remember, though, you must be a resident of the Indian Hill School District to participate. Now, in the month of May, which is coming up very soon, we will offer 3 different classes for Indian Hill residents. On the 10th and the 13th, bring your address book along with the information, and as we'll teach you how to create databases and put it to use and be able to print out custom envelopes, labels, letters, in our Creating Party Invitation classes. Now, please note that there will be a $5 materials fee charge for anyone enrolling in this course. Now, also in May are 2 of our very popular internet courses Mark had mentioned. We're on the 11th. It's Fun Things to Do on the Net, Part 2. It's a continuation of our April class, and in it we'll explore the many internet sites that we just don't have time for in Part 1. And then finally, on May 12th, you come to Lab 125. You can learn how to create your own web page. We'll be using Microsoft's front page to help us create and publish our own internet page. So don't worry if you're not a computer whiz, though as long as you can click and type and you're able to use a mouse, you'll be able to use front page. Now remember, to sign up for any of these classes, just call our Cyber Studio registration hotline at 272-4604. You can register for as many classes as you like, and we'll confirm your registration 1 week prior to class. Remember, Cyber Studio classes do fill up quickly, so please register as soon as possible. In addition to our Cyber Studio classes, Indian Hill residents are eligible to participate in open labs. Those are held every Tuesday and Wednesday from 6 p.m. until 8:30 in the middle school and high school computer labs. No registration is needed for these open lab sessions, and they're free to all Indian Hill residents. If you've enjoyed this edition of our Technology Update program, be sure to look for future presentations. Periodically, a new technology-related topic will be presented on some current aspect of educational technology in the Indian Hill Exempted Village School District. For program times, you can call the ICRC at 272-4272. This concludes our second edition of the Indian Hill Schools Technology Update for 1999. A special thanks to all our staff and students on both sides of the camera for making this presentation possible. See you next time, and have a great day.